Let's hear from Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan. Let's bring him on with a warm round of applause.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. Thank Brother Akbar for those words, and we say all praise is due to Allah. Our subject tonight is the color purple. There's a lot of controversy over this movie, The Color Purple. How many of you in this audience have seen the movie? May I see your hands? Practically everyone. Those who have seen it have not gone away neutral. Everyone has an opinion about this movie. Some pro, some con. Some good, some bad. The arguments rage on in our community, in the churches, in the schools, at home. In some cases, it has provoked serious argument, but in all cases, controversy. And controversy is not necessarily negative, for it forces us to think. Before I speak on The Color Purple, the movie, I would like to quickly sum up the time. For if we understand the time, then we're able not to see things, but to see into things. Wise people today must learn not just to look at things, but to look into things. This means that foresight is good because it enables us to see a thing before it happens. Insight is good because it enables us to see that which is not readily observed on the surface. If we understand the time, then it gives us foresight and it gives us insight. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that the time is important in everything. And very quickly, the scriptures of the Bible and the Holy Quran speak of this time as the time of the resurrection of the dead, the time of the judgment of the world. Those of you who are Christians, who understand from the words of Jesus spoken in the 24th chapter of Matthew, where he delineates the things that we would see as a clear sign pointing to the end of this system of things. And he told us that nation would rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, that there would be wars and rumors of wars. there would be pestilence and famine and earthquakes in diverse places, but that this was just the beginning of sorrows. Now, all of these things are taking place as I speak to you this evening. So we have arrived to that time, according to the prophecies of the scriptures, of the end of the present world and its power to rule. If we understand that the present world is dominated by Caucasian people and that they have exercised sway and power over the darker nations of the earth, and it is they whose world we live in, then it is clear that it is they whose time has come. Not that your time has not also come, or our time, but their time of rule is now being judged and condemned by God and the prophets. So you see a diminishing of the power of the Western world over all dark people. Now, it doesn't take a scholar or a scientist to see this. Your eyes are very, very good. If you open them, you will see, since the rise of Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana in 1957, and 30 African nations winning their independence in just a few years, and from the Bandung Conference that took place in Indonesia, where all of the third world nations got together and would not let any Western European power present in that meeting. They sentenced colonialism to death in 1955. And from that point on, there has been a steady diminishing of the world of white power and the beginning of the rising up of the darker world of oppressed people. The great symbol of the end of their time is now seen in Southern Africa, where children are fighting the armed might of South Africa, supported by the technology of America, England, and Israel, West Germany. Yet we see apartheid crumbling. This is a sign of the rise of the dark man and the fall of the Caucasian power in the world. Here in America, you are a part of that worldwide movement. And even though you are somewhat slow in your rise, nevertheless, the sign of your awakening is everywhere. And so in America, you see the rise of dark people. The holiday for Dr. King, the celebration that was held this past week, or this past Monday, demonstrates that black folk have come a long way. But if you listen to the young, they are not impressed. The young know that we have a long way yet to go. And if you listen carefully to their words suggest greater challenge to a racist system in the days ahead. The rising up of black people brings about a fall of those that have oppressed us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that a rising force pulls apart and destroys a falling force. Now, my question to you, if you agree with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and with what you see with your eyes going on in the world, that this is the time that is written of in the Bible and Holy Quran as the resurrection of the dead. And we do not mean cemetery dwellers. We mean those who are mentally dead to the light and knowledge of God, self, the devil, the true religion of God, the true nature of themselves, and they have been dead politically, dead economically, dead socially, with no power. Now you see a stirring among these dry bones in a vast valley. If I may just quickly paint the picture, as a valley is a low place between two mountain ranges. If you look at the world as a valley, and the scriptures of the Bible say, I will gather all nations down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and there will I plead with them for my people who have been sold, for strong drink or for wine, that they might drink. Yes. Now here, the two mountain ranges represent two great powers in the earth. One on the east and one on the west. One in the east being Russia, one in the west being America and the Western powers. And in the valley, you have these dry bones. All the darker people, darker nations. Now you see a stirring of the bones in the valley. The dead are rising up. Now, if you were in power, stop a moment, put yourself in the shoes of those in power. If you were in power and you knew that your time to rule was limited, and that as long as the masses remained asleep, you could continue to rule, what would your policy be? Your policy would be, your program would be, keep the masses asleep by whatever means necessary. Am I truthful here? Now, if the wise who are in power know that your rise will bring about their fall, and they do not want to fall, nor do they intend to fall, then their mind is set to prevent what? Your rise. Is that clear? How many of you agree with just the little that you've heard that this is the time of the general rising up of all of the darker people and the oppressed people of the earth? How many of you can see that? All right, very good. Now, if you can see that this is the time of the rising of the darker world and the rising of the oppressed, then can you see that in the nature of the oppressor, he does not want to see this. He will not compromise with it. His aim is to do what? Keep the sleeping giant asleep. You agree? The Quran says of Satan or the devil or Iblis, respite me till the day when they are raised. Meaning, delay my doom, delay my judgment until those that are in their graves are raised up. When the resurrection takes place, the respite for Satan is over. That means his end has come. Now, if you agree with me that that is the case, and you agree with the prophets that we are the dead that must be raised, then what keeps us from rising? It is the power of the grave. And the power of the grave is a force that inclines you heavily to the earth. What happened to the blackboard? You all keep robbing me of my blackboard. So I will have to paint imaginary pictures. Gravity is a force that inclines everything of the earth to the earth. In order to get out of the pull of gravity, you must have a powerful force that will get you out beyond the gravitational pull, which is created by the movement of the earth as it turns on its axis and as it revolves around the sun at the terrific speed of 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. That rotation and revolution creates a force that inclines everything on the earth to the earth. What we learn from that is that we are living in a world that exercises power over our minds. That world is called the grave. It is not that this grave is 6 feet deep, but this grave is under the power of one who is under the number 666. For your Bible in the book of Revelation says, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for the number of the beast is the number of a man, 666. As clouds cannot get out of gravity, and the ceiling of gravity is approximately 6 miles high, then we learn from that we who are in the world of the Caucasian, we are in the world of those who have exercised power over the dark people of the world. Therefore, we are in the motion of their world. And the motion of their world is like a grave. It inclines all of us to their world. So it's very difficult to get out of the pull of their world because the motion of their world has us. Right. Their institutions control the way we think. Right. We go to churches dominated by them. Right. We go to schools dominated by them. We are in a society dominated by their social customs. We are under their political system. So every time we try to get out, we reach an impasse and we are knocked back down. We go so high and we come right back down. We can't seem to get out of the pull of their world. Their world is our grave. And the only way we can get out of the pull of their world, as the old song we used to sing in church is, that in that great getting up morning, we have to take on wings. We have to be able to have enough power in our thrust that we can get beyond the pull of their world, which inclines us to them and their way of civilization. Now, they want to keep their motion going because their motion is their world. And the only way they can keep their world and their motion going is to limit yours.
Right.
All right. Now, that's the base of my subject. The color purple. Now, since you understand that your enemy is not trying to get you up and out from under their pull, then you must look at everything that is done by and permitted by and that comes through your enemy with the eye of one who wants to rise and one who is looking into this thing to see what is in it to keep me where I am under their grip and under their power. The color purple. Insight is what we need. In the Quran, one of the attributes of Almighty God, Allah, is that He is one well aware and one aware of subtleties. Let us stop a moment. Wise people don't necessarily come at you like so. Wise people drop on your brains things that maybe you are unaware of the power of what you're hearing. They come at you from a position where you are unable to defend yourself. They come at you through subtleties. Television and the advertising world is full of subtleties. There are subliminal messages that you must be aware of in everything that are so subtle that unless you're wise to pick up on the unseen, it doesn't make the seen as intelligible as the seen could be. Unless you're wise enough to hear the word that is unspoken, then you cannot look deeply into the word that is spoken. For the real power is not what you see, and the real power is not what you hear. The real power is what is unseen behind what you see, and what is unheard behind what you hear. Now, when wise people, and sisters, you know what I'm talking about. When a man wants to talk to you, or when a woman wants to talk to a man, because we both play these kind of games. Sometimes you a man wants to say something to you, but he don't want to say it. So he says it in a way that you get the message, but you can't accuse him of saying anything. And if you say, what do you mean by this? Say, what are you talking about? He can always back out and slip and slide because he must be subtle. And you must be one well aware to pick up on the subtlety. You understand? There are ways that women come at men, and it is so subtle, unless you are well aware of subtleties, to hear what is not spoken and to see what is not there, but yet is, then you can fall into the tender trap. Subtleties, the color purple. Now, here's a movie with nearly an all-black cast. Whites are in the movie incidentally, but they are the unseen, all-pervasive reality, but they are not seen. You must understand that. But most who see the picture don't understand that whites are very present there. But they're not seen. The color purple. In the early 60s, there was an explosion of black movies. They called them black exploitation films. You remember some of them? Cotton Comes to Harlem, Superfly, and a whole host of things that painted us as pimps and hustlers and thugs and dope dealers and you name it. I mean, it was a whole run of those kind of films, and we filled the theaters to see ourselves on the screen. White folks saw there was money in making black movies in the 60s, so they made a lot of black folk stars. By the time the 70s came around, they had no more need to make those kind of movies, and all of a sudden, your overnight stars of black movies were in Hollywood with no jobs, really looking for something to do. This is very, very true. Now, whenever a movie comes out with an all-black cast, that movie is special. We have to go out to see it because we're looking for ourselves and we want to see ourselves in things in order to believe that we have a part to play. So whenever a movie comes out that is filled with us, we want to fill the theater to see what that movie is all about. The color purple. Now, the woman that wrote the book is one of our own sisters. We don't know much about her. There's some suspicion, which I will not repeat suspicion. But she wrote a book, a novel, I guess they call it. Fiction, but based on very real circumstances that many of you went in that movie and identified with. From the opening of that movie, nearly 60% of the women in the audience could identify with incest. That's hard for you to believe. But incest is common in the black experience today. I never would have believed this. But in my experience as a minister in New York, I heard cases among the Muslims where there was incest. I didn't tell him about it. I didn't tell my wife about it. I heard the cases and I judged the cases, but I never exposed those cases to the light because the children that were involved in such case, it would be devastating. But I saw and I heard and I ferreted out the truth in several cases of incest. And then it dawned on me why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told the sisters of the MGT not to leave their daughters home alone with their fathers. I couldn't understand that. I thought that was terrible, that a man cannot be left home with his own children that he brought into the world. But after I lived a little and learned a little about the nature of our experience and what was happening to black girls and even young black boys, that incest was a very real thing in the black community. Now, as we open that movie and there is a father having sex with his stepdaughter, there are many in this audience who can empathize, sympathize, and understand the devastation of an incestuous relationship. The movie starts off amidst beauty, but there's ugliness in the midst of this beauty. So it starts off with a man, a black man, looking like a beast, acting like a beast, engendering the hatred of those in the audience for him. But what you don't see, when the enemy is writing a script from the book and making a movie for you to see, his aim is not just artistic. His aim has to do with the overall theme that I worked on for 15 minutes before I got into the color purple. His aim is, if you rise, he falls. So in order to impair your rise, I must put things before you that will increase the possibility of your never coming to power. And if I continue to lambaste the black man, if I destroy the man in your eyes and in his own eyes, he will never be able to rise. And if he does not rise, I will not fall. Look now, insight. The color purple. I am not arguing about the reality of what is on the screen. I am arguing about the motivation, the subtlety in those who write that you never see, those who direct that you never see, those who are behind the scenes using the God-given talents and gifts of brilliant black artists to portray something that dehumanizes and keeps you in a mold that you cannot come to power with yourself. The color purple. So we start with incest. And in this incestuous relationship, something evil is taking place. A man that is a father, entrusted with the responsibility of rearing his stepdaughter, is now having a sexual relationship with the daughter, making her pregnant. Then at delivery, before the mother can get on speaking terms with the daughter, this so-called father takes the child and sells it. Right away, mother, what kind of feeling does it bring up in you? You're a mother. You, all right, more than that. You want to throw up? Yes. You get angry? Yes. You feel pain? Yes. Because every one of you that is a mother, and every one of you that was a 14-year-old girl that an older man pounced upon in your innocence, in your youth, in your naivete, and that person is one that you had confidence in, that was supposed to be a guardian and a protector of you. But when mother was not around, because mama had to work, mama got busy, mama did things, father slipped in and took advantage of a daughter. Sometimes the girl begins to hate the father so And she begins to even hate the mother because the mother is so blind that the mother can't see what the father's doing, and the daughter can't tell. The father puts fear in the daughter that he will kill the daughter if she opens her mouth. So she has the baby. And if you lost your child, somebody just took it from you before you could press it to your breast, before you could nurse it from your breast, before you could swaddle the baby, clean the baby, see its umbilical cord cut, somebody took the baby away from you and sold it and told you get up and get on back to work. Now, what you saw in the father was what he imitated from an unseen master who was not present at all. But you didn't see that. What you saw was this black man. Nigga, that's what he is. And automatically your skin is boiling, not boiling for the slave master that ruined that man, not boiling against the social conditions that made that man the wretch that he was, but your anger, sister, your hatred was kindled against that father, that black man that you identified with. That's a no good nigga. You never saw the slave master, the no good enemy that produced that no good nigga. You understand what I'm saying? So in the absence of your seeing the cause that produced this effect, then your anger and your hatred is focused on the effect, because the evil one threw the stone and hid his hand. Yeah. You got it? Yeah. Now, I can't go through the whole movie, but I'm going to pick out certain things, okay? Now, this young girl loved her child. She wanted to be free of that circumstance. She had a younger sister, right? The father was trying to get to the younger sister. Is that true? So every time you think about that, you see men in a negative light. They're like animals. They're like dogs. Here's a man that ruined the life of one little girl, and he can't wait to get her out of the way so he can get her sister. Is that the way the movie went? A man came to the door looking quite dignified. He's looking to get the pretty daughter. He don't want the ugly one. But the father had enough of the ugly one. He gets her out of the way so he can get her sister. So the next thing you see, he really didn't want her at all, but he took her for convenience. The next thing you see is a dirty, nasty, filthy house. That the man was satisfied to live in filth if he had to clean it. He brings her in. Where he marries her, she's really not a wife to him. She's a thing that he does his business on. The color purple. He uses her, Whoopi Goldberg. She plays her part so well. I'm telling you, she may win an Oscar for that role, but not just because of her acting ability, but she wins an Oscar in the eyes of white folk because she aids in proving the point that the black man is a dog. And as long as the black man remains a dog, you cannot rise, therefore he cannot fall. The color purple. All right. Next time you look around, the house is clean. That little so-called ugly black girl has cleaned up that nasty pig pen. She's a smart girl, but she hides her smartness in a certain demeanor that says she's stupid, she's docile, she's meek, she's obedient, but she's really crafty, smart. She knows where his shoes are. She knows where his cufflinks are. She knows where his socks are. She knows where his tie is. She knows more about this man's affair than the man himself. All he can do is abuse her. I mean, if you look at the movie, it is a work that subtly is an indictment. Overtly is an indictment against the black man. And we can prove that all the way through to the end of the movie. Wasn't a black man in the movie that came off well. The color purple. If your black man don't come off well at all, sisters, then where are you going? Now, you may be dumb enough to think you can do without a man. I don't know whoever sold that idea. Naturally, sometimes it's better to be alone than with somebody who is no good at all. But that doesn't satisfy the void that not having a man actually brings, because God intended you for the man and the man for you. The Quran says of the man that men are the maintainers of women. You know, maintenance is a heck of a thing. You got a building here, and it may look nice when you get it, but if you don't maintain it, it'll fall apart on you. The finest building in the world needs maintenance. If men are the maintainers of women, that doesn't just mean that you provide for them, you work hard and help them in certain ways. Men have the responsibility of upkeeping the spirit of a woman and upkeeping the nature in which she's created. She's born of the righteous by nature, and it is your responsibility to make sure that she stays in the mold that God intended. That's your duty. But if you as a man are crushed and X'd out, who will maintain your woman? And since the nature of the Caucasian man is not to really maintain your woman, but to degrade your woman, then when the black man is destroyed, the black woman is a degraded woman. The color purple, you were a degraded woman in the movie. A degraded woman, a woman without a sense of value, of her own worth as a human being. And she meets another woman who only recognizes that she can sing and she's fine, and she gives herself away to any man that would have her. And the mockery of this beautiful, so-called beautiful woman over this so-called ugly woman, because this beautiful woman took her man And the man was so hateful, he brought this beautiful woman right in the home of his wife and flaunted the fact that his wife was nothing to him but a useful tool. And the beautiful woman mocked the ugly woman until she found out that the ugly woman was beautiful indeed. And then they had a relationship. So the bestiality of the black man leads to homosexuality. Bestiality leads to homosexuality. Oh, it wasn't really a deep thing, but the beautiful woman physically found real beauty in the ugly woman spiritually. And she who is looking for the beauty of God, she found it in this ugly woman, and she liked that woman because that woman nursed her. That